Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel, Mr. Villains, and today we are doing Game Week 11 predictions of the Barclays Premier League. Now we're going to be starting off on the 14th of October. Brentford are home against Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm going to predict this 1-0 to Brighton, even without Mwepu, which is a sad story of him not going to be able to play. You probably know the story. That is a big loss, especially losing Basuma not too long ago, and losing a really good manager to go over to Chelsea. But to be honest, Brentford, they made too many mistakes in the defence last game against Newcastle, gifted Newcastle 3 goals. It's not good enough, even at home. I think they're going to fall down slowly. Yes, they managed to win against Man United, but since then, they have been slacking off a bit. I think they're going to slowly be the downfall of Brentford. Moving on to our next game. It's going to be on a whole new day, the 15th of October, and it's Leicester City home against Crystal Palace. And I'm going to predict this one, a very high-scoring 2-2 draw between the two sides. Now, Leicester City, they obviously had a shocking loss against Bournemouth 2-1. Just previously, they won 4-0, so don't really understand that. But they're home, and I think they're going to pick up a point. They've only picked up 4 points, and that's a point against Brentford and 3 points against Nottingham Forest. It's not good enough. But Crystal Palace, they won against Leeds United. That was a very good win. But Palace's attack is absolutely amazing, and Leicester's defence has been shocking. But if you look, Leicester have a very good attack. And usually what happens is they bottle the win. They're probably going to be 2-1, 2-0 up. And then Crystal Palace are going to get a couple back. And it's just going to be a draw or a loss for Leicester. I'm afraid there's something they're missing, a spark that they're missing. Moving on to the next game, it's going to be Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are home against Nottingham Forest. I'm going to predict this one 1-0 to Wolves. Now, Nottingham Forest obviously got a very nice draw against Aston Villa after getting battered against Leicester. They managed to get a draw against Aston Villa, which I would say that's good for Nottingham Forest. Very good. But they're away here against Wolves, who they've sacked their manager. And to be honest, Wolves, they're in desperate times. They need points. And really home against a Forest side that lost to Leicester. I think Wolves have got it in the bag. I think their defence and their goalie is absolute quality. They'll be able to keep a clean sheet. And I think they're not at the Nottingham ground. Wolves are at their home ground. And overall, Wolves have got more experience in the Premier League. And they've got good chemistry with each teammate, unlike Nottingham Forest, who had a completely different team this season. And for that, Wolves look like the victors in this, 1-0. Moving on to our next game, it's going to be Fulham home against AFC Bournemouth. A very interesting game here. I'm going to predict this 1-1. Now, Fulham, they had a great, amazing start. Everything's flopped. They've lost so many games recently, especially last game. They lost 3-1 against West Ham United. Before that, they lost 4-1 against Newcastle United. They're conceding too many goals. Alexander Mitrovic injured. I'm not sure if he's going to be fit for this game. But they're home. And I think Bournemouth usually draw. And to be honest, I would say I still don't rate Bournemouth. I still think they're going to go down. They're not playing expectedly amazing. They're not playing amazing. They're just getting the results. That's it. And against Fulham, who aren't doing very well, and Bournemouth like to draw a lot, I think it's sensible to say a draw. Moving on to our next game, Spurs are home against Everton. I'm going to predict this a very close 1-0 win to Spurs. Spurs, they've just got a quality team. Comparing the two teams, Everton and Spurs, well, I would say Spurs are better. Spurs got Harry Kane, they've got Salman Rondon. It's just also Spurs are at home, they're on decent form, they've got better players. That kind of seems a 1-0 result, and the reason why I don't think it's going to be a goal fest is because Everton like to keep their scores very low scoring because they've got Jordan Pickford and Connor Cody, who's absolutely a sensational centre-back. Let's move on to a whole new day, 16th of October. And the next game is going to be Southampton against West Ham United. Now, Southampton are a very interesting team that are at home here. They're not playing very well. And I'm going to predict this game. I actually forgot this game, but I'm going to predict it 2-1 to West Ham. I think Southampton, they've played well sometimes in this in this season. They've played well, they've looked well. Like against Manchester United, they played pretty well, but they didn't get a result. They're not getting results. You know, they didn't get a result last game either when they played Manchester City and they lost 4-0. Obviously, it's Man City, but the heads are going to be down. Even in this game, even if they want to bounce back, I think West Ham are just too good. Overall, they just got a way better side than Southampton, in my opinion. And this is Southampton's downhill. They might get a few chances. That's why I think they'll get a goal. There are a few good players like Joe Rebo, James Ward-Prowse. You know, those couple of players. Shea Adams is an alright Premier League striker. Maybe they are good enough to stay up. But against West Ham, who are probably on pretty good form, they got all the momentum, I can't see him winning it. It's going to be Manchester United home against my favourite team, Newcastle United. I'm going to predict this one 2-1 to Manchester United. Now, I would predict this a draw, but Newcastle aren't at their home ground. And away against Man United, who are also a quality team, it's going to be a very tough game for Newcastle. And in the past, most of the time, Man United seem to always get a win. Even if Newcastle deserved it, which I think Newcastle will actually dominate this game. I honestly think it. I think Newcastle will dominate, but Manchester United will get lucky. That's what usually happens when Newcastle have close games against Man United. I think that's what's going to happen here. It's going to be an unlucky loss for Newcastle. End of. Hopefully it's not. Moving on to the next game, Leeds United are home against Arsenal. And Leeds United are home, like I said, at Ellen Road. Which is a sensational stadium, one of the best in the Prem. But I'm going to predict 2-1 to Arsenal. Arsenal, they're first of the league. Even home Leeds, I don't think you've got even a chance against Arsenal. Arsenal's form's just too good. And Leeds can't even beat Crystal Palace. End of. Arsenal are definitely winning that. Moving on to the next game, Aston Villa are home against Chelsea. I think it's going to be 3-2 to Chelsea. Aston Villa are a confusing team. I don't understand. Are they good or are they bad? They drew 1-1 against City, then they drew 1-1 against Nottingham Forest. Who can I quickly say, Nottingham Forest lost to Leicester 4-0. So I don't know how that works. And for this, I think they're going to be home. Gerrard needs to sort out his tactics because they've got maybe a top 10 club team, Aston Villa they are. But Gerrard, he needs to sort out his tactics. But I think against Chelsea, just such a quality team, Chelsea, with Aubameyang and Sterling for their goal threats. I think Sterling was the only goal threat, but Aubameyang came in, and he's definitely a big goal threat for Chelsea. And really, against Aston Villa, who drew against Forest, I just can't see Villa getting anything out of this. But Villa seem to get draws against Man City, so you never know, it could be a draw. But it's going to be a win for Chelsea. Moving on to our next game, Liverpool are home against Manchester City. I'm going to predict this. In this big game between the two sides, probably the biggest game of this week, I'm going to predict Liverpool to win at 2-1 against Manchester City. Okay, I've done it. I said Liverpool will win the league over City. I'm saying they're going to win this game. I am probably the biggest idiot on YouTube right now, saying that Liverpool will win. But Liverpool won against them in the Community Shield. Yes, it was only the Community Shield, but they did. And Liverpool have previously won the Premier League. And in my opinion, if everyone can, somehow find form without Sadio Mane, find their other form that they was last year, then I think they've got this in the bag. I think it might be lucky from Liverpool. I think City are going to be surprised away, but Liverpool at Anfield, they're going to give it all they've got. Even if it's scrappy football, they're going to skim it. They're going to be lucky. They're going to be lucky Liverpool. And I will predict it 2-1. That will be the end of my predictions. But before we do end, I do finish off last week of Week 10 with 49 points overall out of 174 points. And actually last week I got 7 points. I got 2 exact results. Crystal Palace to win against Leeds 2-1. And West Ham to win against Fulham 3-1. And I got 3 other results. Not exactly correct, but correct. That will be the end of my video. Hopefully you can like and subscribe, and always remember to turn on notifications to watch one of my fantastic YouTube videos. I will see you next time. Toodaloo now.